Minecraft is a game where you try to survive in an endless world by mining, gathering materials, and building houses. But it's not just that. The creators really think a lot before adding a new update to the game. For example, sometimes they draw 4 different creatures and ask us which one to add, but they only add one to the game. You might think, what would happen if they added them all at once? And you might be right, but the creators always have a story in mind. When adding a creature to the game, they don't just say, this character is cool. They consider how that creature fits into the story. Because, as you may have noticed, Minecraft has a story. Moreover, the creators aren't very keen on showing you this story. They once said that with the 1.17 update, they would expand the game's story through archaeological excavations and gradually introduce the game world. However, they quickly realized that rushing the story of a game like Minecraft wasn't logical, and they said they postponed this plan to 1.18. All of this tells us one thing. There's an existing story, a story planned in the past. But have you ever wondered? Most of the creatures in the game are quite simply designed. They live in a defined area. They do defined things. However, Endermen can live in this world, the Nether, and the End. Moreover, they have teleportation abilities. How is this possible? What are these creatures? What is their connection to the dragon? Today, we'll explore the unknown story of the Endermen. Before we get to the video, I'll briefly mention a giveaway. The Excalibur laptop mentioned in the previous announcement is out of stock in the US, so the prize has been replaced with a better MSI laptop. We apologize for the misinformation. Also, the 3-month waiting period has been removed. Winners will be announced in the post section as soon as the channel reaches 200 subscribers. This giveaway is a collaboration between this channel and an anonymous YouTuber. To participate, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and write "I participated" in the comments. Now, the section we need to examine is the end of the game, or the end universe in short. This is the dimension where the Endermen reside. Although extremely numerous here, they aren't actually the most populous creatures in the end. The most numerous creatures are the Shulkers and the strange purple plants that cover the land masses of the end. In short, the chorus plants. So, why are these plants so important? If we really need to understand Endermen, we have to start with the chorus plant. The chorus plant is a fast-growing plant with unlimited branches belonging to the end. These plants produce chorus flowers and fruits called chorus fruits. These fruits, unlike other fruits, have no seeds. When you want to eat them, they teleport you to a random area, but you can't control this. You can only teleport within a defined area. In short, it's not a very reliable method of teleportation. Why do you think it's essential for us to know the abilities of this fruit? Because we learn about a very similar characteristic in another creature found in the end dimension, Shulkers. These creatures have hard shells and can teleport to any area they want when they take damage. If you kill these creatures, you obtain a Shulker shell. The interesting part is, when you melt the chorus fruit, the resulting object transforms into a hard substance with the exact consistency and color of a Shulker shell. In reality, Shulkers weren't always like this. Through natural selection and adaptation to their environment, they gradually transformed. The chorus fruit altered their genes. This is why they can teleport away and escape when you break blocks beneath them or attack them. And Endermen are also a part of this history. They weren't born and raised in the end world either. They were trapped there. One of the strongest pieces of evidence supporting this information is the sounds Endermen make. Endermen can speak, but they've lost this ability over time. Those strange sounds we hear in the game are actually reversed human voices. They say, "Hi." They say, "What's up?" Nobody noticed, but it's always there. They also have building abilities, which we definitely shouldn't overlook. In the Minecraft world, many creatures, both harmful and beneficial, interact with the environment, but none can compare to Endermen. Endermen can both pick up and carry objects and move them to any area they want. In short, some aspects of them function just like us. They move like us. But I'll talk about that in a moment. Now, let's get to the most important object, the Ender Pearl that Endermen leave behind after they die. These pearls are the objects that actually enable Endermen to teleport. They can teleport infinitely many times, and their bodies are perfectly suited for it. However, we take damage when we start using this pearl, because our bodies are not suitable for the pearl. We are beings who haven't eaten and internalized the chorus fruit for years, who haven't undergone that transformation. So, where do these pearls come from? In real life, pearls form inside mussels, of course. Mussels have hard shells that they can open and close. What do these creatures look like most? Shulkers, of course. In short, these pearls probably form inside shulkers, and Endermen need to obtain them from shulkers. How do you think they're able to do this? In real life, people establish mussel farms and build massive systems to obtain pearls. Endermen do something similar. They've created industrial-like structures within shulkers to collect pearls. They create and utilize shoal farms. But it's also important to remember, Endermen are completely useless without these pearls. Now, we come to the part where the story gets even deeper. If Endermen can only teleport within a designated area, how can they use their pearls to travel to completely different dimensions like the Nether and Earth? How can they interact between these dimensions? In reality, they can't teleport directly between dimensions. They need to use portals, like us. However, the story of the Endermen starts off quite interestingly. They began developing a more advanced portal to travel from one island to another, and at that very moment, they accidentally created a portal to the world. This is how Endermen first appeared on Earth and began to disperse. Everything was fine until that first rain. Water means death for Endermen. Their bodies couldn't handle it. The water evaporated them and killed them. They soon realized they had to leave the end, but the portal they opened was one way. They couldn't go back. On this dangerous planet called Earth, there's only one way to survive. Go underground, find shelters, and avoid water. That's why they're building huge underground shelters. At the same time, they're starting to build a massive portal to return home. However, they haven't been able to find the energy source needed to operate the portal. Then they find a glowing purple object, nether portals. Perhaps they were the ones who built those old broken portals you see all over the game. They go to the nether and find what they need, a flame rod. Combining this rod with the pearl they have creates an ender eye, and the ender eye has enough energy to trigger the portal to their world. Over time, these portals break and age, and the eyes lose their function. When you start the game, you find those portals and complete them again, just like the Endermen did centuries ago. So what happened after the Endermen returned to the end? They didn't stay there. Since they had enough obsidian and needed heat, they learned to combine obsidian with fire to create nether portals. In the nether, they enslaved blazes, built fortresses for them, and locked them in those fortresses, just as they enslaved shulkers to obtain pearls. In this way, they created 128 underground portals to their own world. After all this success, they decided to go even further. They could travel to different dimensions and even bring beings from different dimensions to their own universe and enslave them. They took the obsidian from their universe to the end and built towers. They made crystals with the tears they brought from the chorus. Everything was complete. They opened an extremely large portal, and the creature we all know appeared, the Ender Dragon. The Endermen thought this dragon would take them further, but they were wrong. The dragon possessed far greater power than the Endermen and took control of them. Therefore, the Endermen made one last decision. To prevent outsiders from entering, they destroyed both the portals leading to the world and the portals connecting them. That's why you'll see many of the portals destroyed when you enter the game. The Endermen had already figured out what was going on. If the dragon found a way out, it would enslave every being it encountered. But it was too late. As time passed, the Endermen became enslaved, losing their intelligence. The vast empire they had built slowly began to crumble and eventually vanished. The beings they had enslaved fell into the hands of others, their castles filled with skeletons, and others claimed the legacy the Endermen left behind. In this way, the era of the Endermen quietly came to an end. Thousands of years passed, and then someone appeared. This person could interact with nature like the Endermen. They had intelligence, could build their own shelter, and could find necessary supplies from nature. Before long, the Endermen realized that this player was like their former selves. They could think, build structures, and make sound decisions. For this reason, the Endermen contacted this player. Perhaps that's why they had those hays in their voices. The player began a battle with the dragon. At the end of this long struggle, the player won. The war the dragon had won for centuries came to an end, and the following message appeared on the screen: the end. And a small note: you have freed them. Yes, the Endermen were finally freed from the bondage that had enslaved them for thousands of years. The dragon was dead, and a new era had begun. Their minds may not have returned, but at least their slavery was over. That's how the story of Minecraft began. If you liked this video, I make videos like this every week on this channel. If you really don't want to miss out on this kind of content, subscribe for free now. Turn on all notifications and like the video, because everything on this channel is very detailed and high quality. You can choose the next video through the polls in the community tab. Are you still playing Minecraft?